Hi, this is Dave Kaczmarek. I'm the Senior Director with Huron Healthcare, and here to present a topic that is very special to me. We're calling it So You Can Text, but Can You Write? But it's got several subtexts, like fun with commas, or writing for understanding and respect, or the importance of grammar and punctuation. All these things are really part of what we're going to be talking about today. A few things about effective writing. Really, you want to try and keep it short and sweet. We often talk a lot more than we think we should, and we often write much, much longer things than we need to. Short, sweet gets the message across. Focus on the recipient. Think about who's going to be getting this message and how they're going to relate to what you're saying. We always want to stay away from jargon and acronyms when you can. You know, in the supply chain world, we think everybody knows what a GPO is, but guess what? A lot of people don't. And then sweat the details. You've got to be careful about typos, misspelling, formatting inconsistencies, making sure numbers look the same. If you're going to have numbers on a PowerPoint, you don't want to have some that have sense and some that don't have sense. It just makes things very difficult. So those are the sort of general guidelines. What we think we have is 10 things, 10 steps, 10 rules to live by for effective writing, and we're going to go through them one at a time. First one that we have is less is better than more. Don't use two words where one will do. Don't use complex words when simple will do. One of my favorite is utilize. We use utilize all the time, but what we really want to say is use most of the time. How about in order to? To generally will do it. As well as, how about and? Are prepared to? How about can? Those are the kinds of things that, again, and you tend to do it when you're writing, but focus in on simple, focus in on short. Get away from those kinds of things when you don't need those words. The second rule is keeping your writing simple and avoiding words and phrases you would not use in a conversation. When's the last time you were talking to a friend and said thusly? Or how about insofar as? You just don't use those in conversation, and there's rarely a place when you need to put them into your writing. Occasionally, especially if you're doing a legal document, it works, but try and keep away from those if you can. The third rule is really sentence construction and keeping sentence construction simple. Here's a little wordy example from Faulkner and a similar passage from Ernest Hemingway. Faulkner might say, "He did not feel weak. He was merely luxuriating in that supremely gutful lassitude of convalescence in which time, hurry, doing did not exist. The accumulating seconds and minutes and hours to which in its well state the body is a slave, both waking and sleeping," you get the idea. Whereas Hemingway might say, "Manuel drank his brandy. He felt sleepy himself. It was too hot to go out into the town. Besides, there was nothing to do." You see the difference. When you're writing, you want to try and keep sentences short, brief, to the point. You can often, if you write out a long sentence the first time, look at it. Can I break that into two different sentences? It makes it so much easier for you and for the person reading the piece that you're getting. All right, rule 4 is using active voice rather than passive voice. Active voice is an active type verb, whereas passive voice always has something before it. So is preparing to use is passive voice. Using would be active voice. And for some reason when we're writing, we have a tendency to put those extra words in and stuff. So really try and keep things that are very, very active oriented with regard to your voice. This is one of my favorite, really, rules to live by, number 5. Always review and reread after making changes. You know, we'll go through a document, especially if you're redlining. You go through a document, redline it, and you know what you wanted to make. You make a change here, you make a change there, you make a change there, and you got it all done, and then you ship it off to somebody, and then they get it, and they look at it and say, wow, what does this mean? because a change you make in one spot can affect the meaning of something else. And also when you do redlining, if you then accept all of those redline changes, you've got to look through it again because sometimes there's spacing inconsistencies, sometimes there's punctuation inconsistencies. So stick with those rules to live by of always reread after making changes. This is Dave Kaczmarek. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the next part.